Hello and welcome back to the channel where today we're talking Mandalorians. Let's get into it. So about 10 months ago, I made a video on my experience so far trying to join the Mandalorian Mercs. And during that video, I said I'd submitted my pre-application photos. There was a bit of problem trying to get some feedback, but eventually some very helpful members managed to get me some feedback. And I said I was going to work on those and get my application sorted. Then life happened. I started focusing on my 501st costume and putting all of my energy into that. I had Comic-Con prep, I started building a Daredevil costume, I took a break from making videos. It was a long old process and we never actually got around to making those fixes. But now that my 501st application is done and I'm in, now that Comic-Con's out the way, we're going to start making some progress on my Mandalorian costume and getting it Mando Mercs ready to go. So, what were the fixes that I needed to make? I don't know if I went through this in the last video, but I've written them down this time because I am a prepared YouTuber these days, very professional. So, I made a list on my phone of the fixes that I needed to make, and here I will put a picture of my pre-app photos so you can see what they look like. So first up was fixing the shoulder straps. I'd put new shoulder straps on my flak vest and they hadn't been weathered when I took the photos, which was really stupid. But we're gonna fix those, so those need to be weathered. The elastic around the knees needs to be covered or changed or just fit in better with the flight suit. That's an easy fix, we can do that. The spacing on my knees compared to my shin guards needs to just be adjusted. I think I'm going to bring the knees up a little bit higher. That's easy to fix. Slide my foot plates forward a little bit. Again, easy fix. Cover the Skechers logo on my shoes. I did a reel about this the other week, but as many of you may know, the Mandalorian wears Skechers and I have Skechers too. So we just need to cover up that logo. That shouldn't be too hard. Hiding belt loops and all the stuff around the back. Here's the rear photo of my Mandalorian. It was a bit messy when I took the photo and everything wasn't lined up, so we might have to put some elastic or some Velcro in there to adjust those. Just tweak the consistency of the weathering. It wasn't quite consistent all the way through. Make sure that the Velcro on the gaiters is all done on my legs, so that makes sense, and fix the spacing on the fabric so that is all Velcro is covered. So basically just a lot of slight tweaks. Now, although I need to make some tweaks for the Mandalorian Mercs, I want to make some tweaks for myself because there are parts of the kit that I'm not happy about. A few things I want to change is, firstly, the biggest change I want to make is, it's hiding back here somewhere, is I'd like to change the helmet. Obviously, I have the Boba Fett Black Series helmet that I've modified and works within the regulations of the Mandalorian Mercs, but I want to make a proper helmet for my Mando. So that's working on. That'll be a much later video because that's going to take me a while to do. There's a few other tweaks and bits. I'd like to adjust the belt situation. I'd like to give myself a nicer blaster, and the whole neck area of my Mandalorian just feels like it's missing something. So I decided to go with the post-Imperial epaulets that a lot of the mercenaries have, which are these sort of pieces of armor that go over your shoulder, and I think that's just going to fill in the space that's in my neck that doesn't quite work for me. And then lastly, I am considering bringing back the jetpack. So I did another video almost a year ago about creating a custom Mandalorian jetpack, and I wasn't happy with it. So I might take that back to the drawing board and see what we can do with that, because also I don't love my backplate at the moment, and according to the CRLs on the Mandalorian Mercs, you can wear a jetpack in lieu of a backplate. So we'll see how that one goes. But first things first, let's weather these shoulder straps. So here is my flak vest. It's lovely having an actual worktop table that we can work on. The way we're going to weather this is how we weathered a lot of the suit, is we're just going to take some black and brown acrylic paint, and we're just going to do a bit of weathering with some black and browns. It's pretty much how I did the weathering on the rest of the suit. Just a tiny little bit of, oh, I haven't used this brown paint in a while. Should have worn gloves because I'm already covered in paint. Anyway, there we go. So black and brown paint. It's already all over my hands. Water. and paper towels as well to pull off some of the colour when you go a little bit too far. So the general consensus and the general idea of this is that we take a wet brush, get a little bit of the black in it, wipe off a lot of the black, maybe get some brown in there, because that is sort of the colours of my suit. We want it to look sandy and dirty. And then take a lot of that paint off, and then we're just gonna stipple in a lot of that colour. Probably a little bit too much paint on the brush, but that's okay. This fabric is like a cottony fabric, so I think it's going to eat up this paint very easily. It's actually eating the paint a bit too well, so we're gonna get it super, super thin now, because that does not look fantastic. And we're gonna have to bring some of that back, I think. But we just want to dirty them up, tie them in with the rest of the suit and the rest of the flak vest, so we can blend a little bit, just so that, you know, the bottom of this suit here, the bottom of the flak vest is matching up with the straps, and it makes it look like all one thing. I went a little bit heavy on the paint there, so I'm going to take a little bit of tissue paper and see if we can just scrub that out a little bit. It's almost like you're scrubbing a stain out of something you didn't want to get paint on, because it does just look a bit too much like paint. Alternatively, you can airbrush this. I have an airbrush. I'm not going to airbrush because I think it's going to make a mess. But we just want to, almost staining the fabric. Really screwed up this top bit here, but maybe it'll add some character. Obviously, this is like a puffy pleated fabric, and the new straps that I added on are not that fabric, so we've not weathered these before. You can just smudge it in with your fingers as well. You're just trying to get as normal looking, like it's happened naturally, rather than it's happened with you know, you and a paintbrush. You want to get the edges of it as well, otherwise you're just going to have, and you kind of want to get inside as well, because otherwise you're just going to have like bright white fabric showing. So you just want to get everything coated in a bit of paint so that it looks filthy. And we'll try and bring some of this back, because I think I've gone a little bit overboard here. I've definitely gone overboard, but we can strip some of that back, rub it against itself, crumple it, just, you know, make it look like a used bit of fabric. So you're starting to see that we're blending up. We're going to need a lot more brown. I'll maybe go grab some other colours just to blend up, but you want to make sure that we're blending from here and getting the dirt where the dirt would all get, so all in these creases would be dirty, and then any little crevice or crack is just going to collect dirt. So we're getting somewhere. I am going to finish this off, and then we will catch up once I've finished. So after a little bit of work, we have some thoroughly weathered straps. They are matching now to the weathering on the flak vest. They don't stand out, and they're not stark white anymore. Probably could use some more work on them, but we're calling that done for now. Right, boots, Skechers. First things first, I'm going to try and see if I can sand this logo off. If I can, job done. If I can't, well, we need to come up with something else. But I reckon I thought maybe we might be able to sand this off. But but it's embossed. Yeah, it's not going to work. What about the back one? Not going to work. Option B. Right, this is option number 2. I've got some scrap old bits of fake leather, and we're basically just going to create a little panel of sorts that we can... I don't really know what I'm doing here, but it might look alright. I think we need to... Why do I not measure these things? This is not the best solution, but it might work. I reckon we just go down here. Is this going to look terrible? I'll tell you in 2 seconds when I find out. So, that doesn't look horrible. So I'll show you that we've got this little bit of leather here. Tuck that on, and you would never know the difference. All right, let's glue it to the shoe. Glue. Glue and me do not have a great relationship. I hope this sticks. I'm about to find out. I like these shoes as well. Oh well. Say goodbye, shoes. Can't remember if this plastic leather sticks to shoes. Oh, sorry, sticks to shoes, sticks to glue. Now, if I could sew, I would sew on the panel. But I can't sew. But I can glue. And then you just hit it with this. And not drop it. And let's do the other one. Boots. Covered. See, you can't even notice this little extra leather patch. It just looks like part of the shoe. And on the back, done. I've glued my hands together, but it's fine. So I think those are 2 major changes that we needed to make. The rest of it is going to be spacing issues. So that means we're going to need to kit up, which means let's do a suit up. So I didn't want to subject anyone to seeing me in my underwear. So here's my flight suit. I haven't worn this costume in months. Almost. We might even almost be over a year now since the last time I wore this costume. And in that time, I have lost a considerable amount of weight. Woohoo, go me. But I'm about 10 kilos, 11 kilos lighter now. And this flight suit does not fit me very well anymore, but we shall move ahead and see if I remember how to put this flight suit on. Not really sure where I'm going to put the microphone. You guys can live there. So first things first is the flight suit, then we're going to do the boots. Obviously the boots which we saw me make the upgrades to fix them. So let's get the boots on. That's the easiest part done. Now we probably should move on to probably one of the hardest parts. I like with this to go from bottom to top, because once you get the top on, it's quite hard to reach down to the bottom. So the next up will be the leg puttees, gaiters, things. So these are my leg attachments. They basically just slip on, get fastened together with some Velcro and a strap at the top, and they already have my shin armour attached. What you really should remember is that I've not done this in a while and I've just done something really stupid, because we should always put the knee armour on first. That's one of the most difficult parts done. So you can sort of see from here. I'll try and move the camera down. So you can now see how the bottom armour works. I I've made the adjustments to the leg straps as suggested. The legs, the knees are going to sit a little bit higher just to give some spacing. Then we're going to add in our ammo pouch. So, new ammo pouch with new Velcro. Now comes the difficult part, so I'm going to move the camera up so you can see me get the top half on as well. Top half of the armor, I'm definitely going to have to put the microphone down for this one because this is difficult. So that is my flak vest and my cummerbund on. Again, not fitting me very well because I have lost weight, but we'll make it work somehow. So, shoulder bells. I have two ways of adding these shoulder bells on. I have a snap that brings the shoulder belt a little bit further down, but a couple of people said that the shoulders look too low. Although, if you look at Din Djarin's shoulders, his are actually slung quite low. But for now, we're going to put them on with the Velcro because the snap's too hard. I'm also not putting the back plate on because it's extremely hard to do as just one person. So, next up, chest plate. This is the awkward moment when I realise I'm missing a gauntlet. It's okay, I found the gauntlet. Next up is my bottom belt, which sits about here, I think. My forearms have gotten too big and it's busted my gauntlets open. Last but not least, well, there you go. That is my Mandalorian kit, all kind of on and everything. And although I said this video was going to be me making the fixes to get my kit ready for Mandalorian Mercs, I've realised that in not having put this on in so long, there are 1,000,001 things that need replacing and fixing. I think I'm going to need new gauntlets because they don't really fit me anymore. The belts are absolutely buggered. So, yeah, there's a lot to fix here. Is it time for a new Mandalorian kit? I don't know. We're going to have to just think about how we attack this because, yeah, this is a lot of work. But, oh well. Back to table and chair and studio, Gavin, I guess. Well, I get out of this. Wish me luck. So there you have it. I think that's just about all the Mandalorian Mercs fixes that they want. There are some things that I'm working on that I want to change as well, but they'll be in an upcoming video once I have them ready. But if you've enjoyed this jump back into the world of Mandalorian costuming, do let me know and I can do some more videos about that. Until then, I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great week ahead. Happy crafting and goodbye.